Yeah, Sam.
Cool. Hey, this is Michael Dermer from the Lonely Entrepreneur, and so excited to be here today with a couple of my favorite people. Ebony Young, our president of the Lonely Entrepreneur nonprofit. Hi, Ebony. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
And Rick Banks, who's going to tell you all about his amazing organization in the Milwaukee area. We had the great fortune of partnering with Rick's organization as part of the Black Entrepreneur Initiative, sponsored by our mutual friends at the Milwaukee Bucks. So, Rick, what would be really helpful, just for our audience to get to know you a little bit, is can you give us a sense, a little bit of your background and a little bit about your organization?
Yeah, of course. Again, thank you for having me. My name is Rick Banks. I am the co-founder and current executive director of the MKE Black Incorporated. And so we are right now a nonprofit that was created in the city of Milwaukee. And our mission is to celebrate, promote, empower, and advance Black-owned businesses, events, and culture in the greater Milwaukee area by providing resources, connections, and awareness in everyday life. And so ultimately our vision is to create a Milwaukee where Black people and Black-owned businesses have access to resources, support, and diverse communities to enable them to be able to thrive and to tell their own personal stories. And so my background, I am a community organizer by trade. I have been working as an organizer for the past 10 years or so, since I was in college and school studying political science and economics. And that's really where the idea for me of MKE Black was birthed, was in my schooling days when I was studying at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and always thinking about how can I bring back the skills and knowledge that I was learning back to my communities. And so I started thinking about how businesses in the community don't have access to capital, and how, folks really wanted to support Black-owned businesses. It's hard because unless you have a personal relationship with the owners, you don't know which businesses are Black-owned. And so if we wanted to have thriving neighborhoods, we needed people from our neighborhoods to own businesses in the neighborhood, and we needed people in the community to support them. And so the idea for MKE Black really came about as how can we support the businesses that exist? How can we connect them to resources and other customers and people that can help them be successful? And then how can we really kind of be, I guess, exporters of Black businesses and Black culture to folks who wouldn't ordinarily come and visit the neighborhood and the communities. And so we were proud to have built a very successful platform through our social media presence, through our website, and most recently through the mobile app that we developed that's available on Apple and Android devices, where folks can go on there and look up Black-owned businesses in a variety of different categories and filter and things like that. And so we're excited to move forward into our next phases as we really move some things into a for-profit wing, such as a mobile app, where we hope to upgrade the app to be able to do things like online ordering and things like that, but then also to expand our nonprofit services to do more to help entrepreneurship and just support Black-owned businesses locally.
That's amazing. And you and Ebony share a lot of the same background. Ebony has spent a whole bunch of time in and around the largest housing project in the United States. And so has lived in that community for a long, long time. And so you guys have shared some of the very same mission. Rick, obviously we became partners as a result of, the generous contributions of the Milwaukee Bucks. And our partnership is meant very much to enable your mission, right? You're providing you with a platform that enables you to go in the community with the knowledge and tools and support that entrepreneurs need. What do you find in the Milwaukee community? What do you find are the most difficult challenges that you hear about from Black men and women as they start and grow businesses?
I think one of the main ones is, access to capital, just being able to get access to resources to be able to start businesses. Like folks, as we enter Black History Month, are familiar with the concept of redlining and other things like that, where banks and traditional financiers haven't been as willing and forthright with lending into minority communities. And so getting access to those resources, but also being able to access networks, like people say, I think there's the saying, like, your net worth is your network or something like that. And so if you're not connected to the money, if you're not connected to the professionals, if you're not connected to the people who can open the specific doors to you, that hampers your ability to be successful. And then right now, as we're as we are 1 year into the pandemic and folks dealing with changing dynamics around doing business, just really enabling folks to have the resources and the connections to reach that audience and be able to serve folks through contactless ordering and things like that, and being able to have the technology to really be able to adjust and provide the same level of service in this new technological age, post-pandemic age. So those are the three things that I've been hearing about, as well as, traditional things like marketing. Most folks, I might be the best baker in the world, but marketing might not be my strong suit. So being able to get access to that, to some folks who can help with marketing, get the word out, and then just being, considered and taken seriously, like, striving to have the best level of customer service, and really still be able to get in some doors and be, taken seriously.
Ebony, in your career, even before you joined Lonely Entrepreneur, were those all the same things that you were seeing in New York? Were the things that were different, you think, from what Rick just laid out, or the kind of common problems all over the U.S.?
No, I think there are common problems, right? And when you go into business as an African American person, right, there's all of these like gateways that you got to have open for you so that you can really thrive, right? And so when you spend all of your time on the small minutia, right, when in actuality you need to be spending time on the things that really build your business, it can get very tiresome. And then you can tire out on the minutia, right, and forget that the main thing is the main thing, right? So I do see that it's quite similar, I think, globally, specifically nationwide. And
Yep.
so those are the obstacles. Yeah, most
definitely. No, certainly. And as you mentioned, Rick, there are tactical things, marketing and financial statements, and there's systemic things that people are dealing with. And then there's just, learning how to fish, right? All the things that we talk about that get you to a position where if you would have access to a financing vehicle, how would you appropriately present it, right? How would you prepare a financial plan? Tell me a little bit about the response that you've seen from our partnership and putting some of these tools in the hands of some of the folks that you've been able to serve.
Yeah, I know some folks who just right off the bat like had a business idea, but were like, I don't know the first thing about starting an LLC and things like that. And so they were prepared to go and spend $500 for, a consultant or somebody to go and prepare their LLC paperwork and stuff like that, and give them like a couple business cards. And I'm like, wow, that's like, dude, like there's this thing you sign up for. It will show you how to make an LLC. It's not as hard as you think it is, and it will save you some $300 from paying somebody else to fill it for you. So just seeing folks have access to just how to get started, like, has been really helpful. And then I myself have been utilizing some of the other courses as far as like how to, do marketing plans and how to, write a spreadsheet and write your financial plan and things like that. And I'm sure that other folks have been finding that useful as well. And just utilizing some of the, like the web series and the things like the webinars where you're coming online and being able to learn from folks who have that experience. That's invaluable exposure, I think. And it's just been a blessing to be able to expose I think some over 500 businesses in the Milwaukee area to these level of resources. It's been a huge gift, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, what's been really interesting has been a couple other things that we've noticed. Number one, before people are even really helped, they feel like they have a place to go, almost like a tribe, right? Where they get to show up and say, there's like-minded people. And even though our partnership around with the Milwaukee Bucks was, mostly around Milwaukee, although we're people nationwide, we'll have people on the call saying, I'm in Rochester, I'm in Phoenix, I'm in Africa, right? And I'm experiencing the same kind of feelings about it. So to your point about an LLC, an individual entrepreneur gets hit with all these different things about here's the way you should do it. And they go, how do I do it? How do I figure it out? So what's been really interesting is seeing a lot of the MKE folks and the other folks from Milwaukee go in there and say, okay, I don't know. The only thing I know now is where to go. And hopefully, like you said, that's a big thing. I think the second part of it is not feeling like it's just you. It's well, we used to kid around and say at the Lonely Entrepreneur, Ebony, you've heard me say this before, is that when everybody goes to Thanksgiving, you think that just your family is screwed up, right? At your Thanksgiving dinner table, right? And that's the way entrepreneurs feel at times. And I'm sure Black entrepreneurs say, I'm going through all these problems and challenges, and I feel like I'm alone, but I feel like it's just me. And I think by putting people in the learning community together, they start to understand that these are the same problems people are having across Milwaukee, across the country. And that gives them to say, okay, I don't have to worry about that. Let me just, as you said, Rick, dive into the issues, try to incrementally find out. When I don't know, I've kind of got a place to go that, helps me have a better chance of success.
Absolutely.
When you talk to the people from your community and you talk to the people in Milwaukee, do they feel as if there is a shift and a change of organizations like yours, people like the Bucks, people like us, that actually wake up every day saying, there's a lot of parts of America that have benefited and a lot of parts of America, especially the Black community, that have not, that, okay, at least there's an effort in earnest to try to give them a better chance of success?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, that's definitely, especially just given post, Freedom Summer last year. I think a lot of folks who have been previously talking some talk are starting to walk the walk. And that's been really good to see when you look at institutions like here locally, like the Bucks and like Northwestern Mutual and like Pfizer, who have really started to put, major resources behind supporting Black-owned businesses locally. I think that shows that there's a huge movement behind, really trying to put some real resources behind remedying some of these past issues and lack of development and lack of investment in the community in general. And so I think there's still a long way to go, but I mean, it's great to see that there's been movement. And I think that people are starting to see that.
What's interesting about what you mentioned, think about what you're mentioning about Pfizer, right? Pfizer doesn't necessarily really connect with small businesses, doesn't really sell anything to small businesses like a bank or somebody else. And same thing with the Milwaukee Bucks, right? Milwaukee Bucks is just in the community. But to see those organizations, right, stepping up and saying, we really believe that helping, Black men and women start and grow businesses can be the lifeblood of trying to break through, at least to a certain extent, overcoming some of these, systematic issues that we all know.
Right.
Rick, when you think about your business and you think about knowing now that you have our platform, to use and as an asset, how do you think about expanding your services to be able to continue upon your mission? I know it sounds like you've had a whole bunch of amazing things, but I know you're also, like you said, a nonprofit and you're starting to grow. How do you think of the next step for what you're going to try to empower the Milwaukee community with?
Just so I'm clear on the question, you mean just kind of what are our general plans for expansion? How does it connect with kind of the Lonely Entrepreneur piece?
Either or.
Okay. I think that one, it's really great that you all have extended the amount of time that we can connect folks to this, because I think it's a great resource and we definitely want to make sure that, as many folks as possible are connected to it. And we're definitely planning to use the time to try to get more people onto this service. And then in general, we're looking to do a variety of different things from, working with youth who are potentially looking to establish businesses. So my co-founder and I, we actually went to middle school together. And one of the things we did when we were together in middle school was something called the mini fair. And what it was one of our math teacher, I wasn't even in her class. I don't even know how I got involved in this, but she would do this thing where she would teach kids how to start a small business, and they would work on business plans and everything else. And then instead of a lunch hour for like 3 days, the folks who were doing the businesses would set up in the cafeteria and they would just have their businesses running during the lunch hour days. And so folks would come in and buy it. And then at the end, we'd have to do, expenses and losses and all kinds of other stuff. And this was just as, in middle school. So I don't know if that was still going, but we were definitely thinking like, okay, we want to do something like that, but for, kids all over the city instead of just at our local middle school. And so we're doing that and expanding services like that for youth and young adults. We're also looking at just how can we expand and support other businesses through cultural events. Hopefully, once the pandemic is officially declared over, we can go back to socially gathering. We've got ideas like Black Tech Week events, Black Fashion Week. There's a Black Restaurant Week already happening that we want to support as much as we can. And so just continuing to provide that promotion, providing those trainings and access to resources. One of the things that we're excited to be working on is how we're putting together kind of a training and development course specifically targeted towards corporations and large corporate entities to really kind of dive in and help them identify what is the way to walk the walk. I think a lot of mid to large corporations are committed to it and they like the idea of giving back and doing things to help engage the Black community and Black-owned businesses, but they're just not sure how. And so we would love to come in and work with them to develop strategic plans around really putting whatever resources that they have into being the best partners for the Black community that they can be. And so just continue to do things like that and expand and offer more connections, more bridges, and more services to help promote entrepreneurship and access to those resources in the Black community.
And it's interesting, you may not know Ebony's background, but she spent many years as the head of the YMCA in New York, but then went to work in corporate social responsibility for a big real estate developer. So she was on the corporate side.
Mm-hmm.
Ebony, in your experience in making that transition to obviously helping in the community to being on the corporate side, any advice you can give to Rick around kind of that evolution?
Yeah, I think it's, the great thing that's happening, I think, in America right now is that corporate America is really starting to grasp the non-for-profit policy movement and what non-for-profits do, right? Which is really, how do we think about our community in ways that will help to enhance them? And I see that corporations are really adopting that through the hiring of corporate social responsibility VPs and really thinking through their philanthropy pieces. And so I think the encouragement is to take what you know from the non-for-profit world, right, and embed it into the fabric of corporations, because I think corporations are really looking for that for like their social justice movement and beyond. And so when it comes to grounding Black economics and thinking through that, how does it become an asset, right, to the movement forward of everything? So, you're on track. It's tracking well.
Appreciate it. Thank you. That's good wisdom.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, Rick, we appreciate your work. We appreciate the partnership. Of course, we appreciate the contribution of the Milwaukee Bucks. And I know for us, I don't know how much you see this, but every day in our community, we actually see the messages of people. And I can't tell you, even in our brief time of working together, I can't tell you how many times people say, I'm so thankful to have this. I'm so thankful, Rick, to your organization for providing it. And exactly like you said about the LLC, yesterday I was running around doing all this stuff. I didn't have goals. I didn't have a plan. And now I've got a place to go. And, we're just really happy that your organization is able to provide them that capability. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Terrific. Well, thanks very much for your time, Rick and Ebony, of course.
No problem.
And this will be part of a long-standing relationship together. So thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Lonely Entrepreneur.
Looking forward to talking more.
All right, man. Be well.
Have a good day, y'all.